Hey there, tech heads. So after a long-awaited break, I am back. Dalton and Cloud here. All right, nothing? Okay, fine. Let's get on with today's video. Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be going over CompTIA's Project Plus uh, with a little bit of just an insight over what's changing, what changes are going to have coming out later on this year, and what you have to look forward to. But without further ado, let's get on with today's video. All right, so uh, as you see here, we have the PK0-004, which we did review in a previous video. I'll try to have a link in the corner. And then we also have, we're moving to the PK1-005. So this is going to be the exam we're moving to. And first we want to go over just what changes we're going to be seeing uh, in these exams, and then we'll be going over some of the resources that I feel like are going to be updated first, just so you know what vendors you're going to want to go through when this changes occur, or what books you're going to want to research into or anything like that, just so you could have the information to study when you want to study and take this exam. So first off, a little bit of a history. So this actual exam was produced in 2017. It does have the exact month somewhere on the CompTIA's webpage. March 15th, 2017 was actually the due date, and then the due date or the launch date for the PK1-005 is going to be January 25th of this year. So this has already started being released, so this is something you could start going for. But if you don't really want to study the new content for the PK1-005, not to worry, you could still use the resources for the PK0-004, and you could take this exam until April of next year. So just so you're aware of that. So what changes do we have? Let's go over this CompTIA article. We will have the link in the video description, and what changes we're seeing going forward. So first off, we'll just go down to the comparison for the domains. So the differences, project basis is going to be 36% for the TAC 004 exam. Project constraints will be 17%. Project tools and documentation will be 21%. And then communication and change management is going to be the big one for 26%. One of the big ones. So project management concepts is going to be listed as the first domain for project management concepts for 33%. That will be for the first domain here for going forward. The next domain that we're going to have is going to be project life cycle phases. That's going to be 30%. Tools and documentation. That's going to be listed at 90 or 19%. So just a little comparison there. That's probably going to be very similar in subject. And then basics of IT governance. And that's going to be similar to our change management. And that's going to be 18%. But you can kind of see how the domains have changed quite a bit from the previous exam, but a lot can happen, especially in IT in the technology world, and what priorities we have. And especially in the past 5 years, we've seen a lot of different changes. So there has been a lot of different it's understandable on why these domains have changed so much and what the focus will be for this exam. So if you have more of an IT focus and you're just getting this exam because you need to manage a team and the life cycle going forward, or it's just something your boss wants you to get on your go take the exam for. So hiring managers are looking for IT pros who can manage an IT project, communicate with IT teams, perspectives, which means 100 to 400,000 IT openings, for IT project management skills and agile focus. This is mainly coming from like a hiring manager perspective and what their wants will be going forward with the different focuses. So the agile focus, IT focus, and risk management focus. And you could go through and read about this on your own. And then it kind of goes over the exam objectives, other core certifications, and what they're included. Of course, the A plus, Net plus, Security plus, and those are the poster childs of CompTIA to get people into IT. And we've gone over all three of those exams, and I believe we do have some updates to some of those videos coming out later this year as well. So moving forward, we're just going to go a little bit into each of these new domains and what that entails. So for the domain, the first domain we listed, project management concepts, how they describe this domain, it's going to include the basics, including agile versus waterfall, change control process, and frameworks. So if you don't know those terms, agile and waterfall, don't worry, when you study for this exam, you will learn it. It's just a different methodology and mindset when you're conducting project management. The next domain is project lifecycle phases. This includes various hands-on scenarios to implement each phase. Third domain is going to be tools and documentation. This is going to include project management tools that support agile methodologies. And then the fourth domain is going to be the basics of IT governance. This includes applying appropriate IT risk strategies and compliance frameworks to projects. All right. And then it's going to offer different ways to study for CompTIA. Of course, they're going to suggest their resources, but as we'll see in the next tab, their resources can be a little bit pricey. So over here in this tab, it kind of has the overview of what you're going to want to learn going forward. The current project salaries for project managers range from 80 to 116,000, which is nice if that was the average, but as we've done research in previous videos, just because they say that's the average, that's a skewed number. That could be an average overall, and depending on where you're located in the world, that may not be the average for what you could earn at your location and where you're at. And yes, given the current climate of the world, you can work remotely, so you can work in one location and live in another. But usually companies will pay you depending on your location. So even if you do work for a company that's, say, based in California and you live in a state that has a lower cost of living, let's say Tennessee or something such as that, then unfortunately you're not going to be paid the same wage as if you lived in California. It will be a wage adjustment for your cost of living. So just keep that in mind when you're looking into this. Now, that's not for all companies. Some companies will just pay you a flat whatever they pay their average worker, but that's not always the case. So we already went over the exam domains and how they're weighted. And then we also went over the availability. Great. So this does not actually have, here we're going to see the prices. All right, so here we see the prices for the voucher as well as the basic bundle and the exam prep bundle. So here, even if you do have a company that will pay for the exam, usually they won't pay for any of the other study resources. That is, unless they offer those study resources for you, you're going to pay that on your own term. So here, the basic bundle is just going to be, for one, the exam voucher. and a exam retake, which even if my company only paid for the voucher, I would opt for that when I'm taking an exam, because in the event I do not pass the first time, I always want to have that retake. I did this with the CompTIA Security Plus. My company did pay for my voucher, but I wasn't positive how poorly or well I would do. So I wanted to get that retake just in case. Lucky for me, I did not need it. I passed with flying colors, but I just wanted to make sure. And then also they offer you an ebook, which is a self-paced study guide. And then if you go for the exam prep bundle, which is their premium package, that's going to be quite a bit more money. And that's going to include their Cert Master Practice training for Project Plus. Their Cert Master Practice, it just includes a bunch of practice tests that you could go through and you could use their resources to study for, which, you know, if you're studying practice questions, you would want to take practice questions from the vendor. But even with this in mind, I've heard sometimes it's hit or miss when you're going for the actual exam itself. Sometimes they say, people have used this, have said, oh, it's very accurate and it's great, but sometimes they say it's nothing like the questions that are on the actual exam, and it's a complete waste of money. So take that with a grain of salt. Now, these reactions are for different certifications. It wasn't necessarily for Project Plus, but just keep that in mind when you're looking at these different options. All right, so next we're going into vendors and what vendors are going to have the most up-to-date information first. So the first one we want to look at is going to be Cybex. So Cybex is a book. They make content readiness books for IT, studying for exams, and they usually work with the vendor. So right when this new exam comes out of the beta for the TAC 005 and goes into the full-fledged swing of things, then Cybex is most likely going to have a version of the book readily available to study for this. I personally prefer having a book as well as a course to study when I'm studying for resources. And then I also like to have something where I could lab if labbing is included, such as if you're studying for something with Linux or networking or even security or something such as that, or cloud even. If you have something where you could actually implement this, create made up scenarios where you could create a waterfall like workflow, right? Something such as that. Something just so you could have a lab scenario where you could implement this. That's going to be better, as well as with, you know, studying a course where you get to visualize it, see it, and then something where you could read it. But Cybex would be one of the better vendors when it comes to reading and having the most up-to-date information first. Next up, we're going to Udemy. So specifically with Joseph Phillips. So I can't really talk about Joseph Phillips. He does have quite a bit of students. I haven't personally enrolled in any of his courses myself. I have used his courses with the personal plan for Udemy. I don't have that plan like currently, but I did get I think it was like a 14-day free trial at the time. And I did study some of his courses and I did like them. He does a pretty decent job at teaching the subject. And when it comes to project management, like certifications, he is one of the best ones who will have the most up-to-date information for those exams first. Here you could just go through and see some of his other courses that he teaches for different exams. This is based by popularity, I believe. So just, you know, some of his more prominent exams that he has on there. And, you know, as someone who's been in project management for as long as he has, it's just a smart decision to utilize his resources and his brain instead of, and you know, as I said, because this is his niche, this is what he does. Sorry, marketing term. But because this is what he does, I would say that he's going to be the first one to have a study guide for this when it comes to what I consider more affordable training resources. Like 13, it's either going to range from like $13 to $20 for an exam. And usually his exams have quite a bit of content to them, or in his study guides. So this, for example, has like 11.5 hours of on-demand video. That's great, right? That's fine. Um, and I'll have the link to his study resources as well. And then Pluralsight. So Pluralsight just did a buyout. They bought out A Cloud Guru. I actually have both platforms. One I pay for, one my work pays for. But Pluralsight will, or A Cloud Guru, whichever platform has it first. But I think it's probably going to go to Pluralsight. But they will have a course up to date on the new version of the exam the moment it hits. I can almost guarantee it. So they're a great vendor as well. Now it's not all going to be taught by one instructor, but it is what it is. But the other thing I love about Pluralsight, when it comes to CompTIA exams, they always have a discount code. If you use Plural10, you get 10% off your exam, which when you pay $348, 10% could go a long way in helping you out. So I would use that on your next exam whenever you get the chance. All right, next. I don't know if they're going to update this. CBT Nuggets does do a great job, but when it comes to things that aren't cloud-based or networking-based, I'm not sure how quickly they'll have the more up-to-date subject matter on their website. How quickly they'll get to updating this. I was happy they had this on here, but project management is not one of their biggest selling points for their platform. So I'm not positive that they're going to be having that particular certification updated as it comes out. So as you can see here, Microsoft certifications, Cisco, the CompTIA certifications, the general CompTIA certifications, the core ones, A+, Net+, Security+, and then the Linux and Pentest, as well as the AWS. Those are more of their selling points. Anything Cisco, networking, cloud, anything such as that, those are going to be their selling points. They have one PMI certification, and then they have the Project Plus. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these different vendors, depending on your career path. Next up, of course, IT Pro TV. IT Pro TV, I don't know how quickly they'll have their course updated and completed. Usually they will actually release new, episodes, air quotes, I'm using air quotes here. They'll release new episodes of a course as they film it. So I'm not sure how quickly it will be created, completed, but they will start having a course updated as it comes out. And I do love IT Pro TV. I don't have a current running subscription for them, but I'm an on again, off again subscriber to IT Pro TV. I love their platform. They have two different pricing bundles. I personally just use their standard month, personal plan. I don't really have the need to use their premium. If I'm gonna need virtual labs, I'll get it from a book, and if I need practice tests, I'll get it from a Udemy course. I won't generally do that. And then if I need coaching services, or if I want to have a mentor, something such as that, I do like their mentor service. But if I really wanted a mentor to help me in coaching my career and things like that, I would go to LinkedIn and just reach out to someone, or go to a meetup, go to meetup.com and look for different groups to socialize with. But that's just me. As I said, I do like their coaching services, but if I needed something such as that, that's the route I would usually go. Other than that, that's all the resources I believe will be updated first. There are a lot of other resources out there, but unfortunately, these are the only vendors and platforms I feel like will be updated first before anyone else. So just keep that in mind going forward if you do plan on taking the new Project Plus and getting that updated, getting that renewed. Other than that, thank you so much for checking out this video. I am glad to be back, and I hope to see you in the next video.